Hey guys, welcome to a new day in the garden. It is so nice. It's a Friday evening or Friday afternoon, and I have some seeds that I would like to get in the garden. And the soil has been sitting in for maybe a good week now. So I think we are ready now to get some of these seeds in the beds. So, right now, what I've been doing, um, I have been trying to figure out where I'm going to plant what in what bed because not everything grows well together. So that's what I'm going to kind of figure out along the way with you guys. So let's get that started. Okay, so I have a couple of these seeds. I have them laid out here, but what I'm thinking, so earlier I was making notes and I was trying to figure out what works well with group planting. And so I clipped them together, the ones that I was able to do research on, and this is pretty much what I gathered what we can possibly do for each bed. So, what I need to figure out is where do I want each bed? I mean, where do I want these group plantings to go? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And then um, it also it has to align nicely with the flowers that I will be putting here on the flower bed because the flowers that I'm picking out here will also help for our veggie patch to grow nicely. So, yeah, so I'm just gonna sit here for a quick second to figure out what I'm gonna do. Okay, guys, so this is what I ended up doing. This is kind of just to give myself an idea of how things are going to be planted. So I am going to use the topsoil mixed with the compost to put in the carrots. And that's because the compost and topsoil is a little bit looser, and apparently carrots like a little bit more sandier soil. So I'm going to do that. And then what was recommended from what I have read is to plant tomato and lettuce next to each other. So this is how that row is going to look. And then there's going to be carrots all around. And then we're going to have the forget me not flowers, which is also going to protect the vegetable patch. So this one, I believe, is done, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, for the next one, this one I have scallions, spinach, peas, snap peas, and your regular peas. And I am thinking to probably put a lot more spinach than this. And this is basically how the setup will be. And then we're going to put some cosmos here and bachelor button flowers here that will also shield the vegetable patch. But I still have to double make sure that everything looks good. And then for the next bed, we have our beets. And I eat plenty of these, so does my family. So we're going to plant quite a few of these with the bell peppers, a chili pepper, and the onions. I wanted to originally dedicate one bed to the onions, but it's not going to work. Um, and also, I just have this one packet. So I am planning that this will be probably a good idea. So that will be for the next bed. And then the last bed, we have our cabbage, we have bush beans, we have red cabbage, and we have the celery. So these are good companions, and that's kind of what I'm planning to do. I'm thinking to play it safe. I am going to simply sleep on it and not put any seeds in yet. I can most likely do this tomorrow. I want to do a double check, a little bit more research just to make sure that this setup looks good. I'm going to take pictures of each bed and make sure that this is fine before I put my seeds in. And also the flowers as well. I want to make sure that they are not being mixed up with the wrong veggie patch, which I'm kind of catching that maybe the cosmos might not work well with this batch, this box here, this garden bed here, because this one has spinach. And I'm not sure if spinach works well with cosmos now. I don't remember. So I need to go back into that and look into it, make sure that everything looks good. And then I think I will be more comfortable to put in the seeds another day. So I think that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to trust my gut and do that. So we'll come back to this tomorrow. Hey guys, so it's been about a day and a half, and from last time I spoke to you guys, we were talking about how we're going to set up the seeds, how we're going to put them, or which bed they're going to go in. And something that I picked up when I was laying down all the seeds, and I'm so glad that I did that instead of just planting the seeds. I had forgotten that I need to also plant according to the amount of space that I have, because vegetables need plenty of space to grow, especially if you're growing rooted ones. Like, I'm going to be putting in some beets. I'm also trying to put cucumbers. I'm also going to try and put some tomatoes, and they need a lot of space. So, for example, this bed, I think I was going to put like two different varieties of tomatoes, and I was going to add like spinach and all these other things. That was not going to work. There was not going to be enough space for all of them to grow successfully. So, I'm going to show you guys what I ended up doing. Well, what I'm going to do. We'll do it together. And I'm so glad that I was able to go back and figure out how I'm going to set this whole thing up. So, let's go ahead and let me walk you through what I'm going to do. I just wanted to quickly water down all the beds, and I read that it helps so that when you put your seeds in that they don't go flying everywhere. So I was just trying to get a bit of a head start and get that water in the soil now before we put in those beautiful seeds. I'm just going to go in and make sure that I can just level out a little bit, but just be careful with the topsoil. It is already very dense, so you don't want to flatten it or anything. Just going to air it out a little bit, make sure that everything looks even. Okay, you guys, so I went ahead and went back and I watered it again, because when I was moving it and kind of shaking up the soil, there was a lot of dryness underneath. So I went ahead and soaked it up just a little bit, and it was just this bed that has that organic soil. The soil with the topsoil mixed with compost, that one was good. It didn't need more water. So now we're going to focus on our first bed, which is this one. We're going to focus on this one right here. And on that bed, what I am deciding to do, so if you guys remember, I decided to create a flower bed right in front of the veggie patch. And what that's going to do is protect our vegetables. It's going to bring in all the good pollinators to help our veggies grow. So the flowers that I decided to plant in front, and it's not going to be in the box, it's going to be a completely separate box. So I'm going to do the forget me not and the bachelor button. So these two are very good for tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, beans, things like that. And I'm going to be having tomatoes on this bed. So these are actually going to be perfect for our patch here, our veggie patch. So hopefully I can create a nice protective barrier for our vegetable patch. So this is going in the flower bed. And then what I'm going to put here on the first bed, we're going to do radish, we're going to do lettuce, we're going to do some basil, we're going to do the tomato. Only one fits in this bed, by the way, you guys, because I wanted to add more, and there's just no way that more was going to fit. And then we're going to do onion scallion, spinach, and more lettuce. Let me show you how I'm going to put this. So we're going to have sweet basil on each corner. Okay, I have to look at my notes in the back here. And then in between the basil, we're going to be having lettuce. So lettuce is going to be in between. And then in the middle, In the middle goes the tomatoes. And then we have our green onions. The green onions are very good to repel bugs that we don't want in the bed. That's why I decided to keep them in this bed. And then our trellis is going to go here for our tomatoes. And then also our spinach is going to go here. It's going to be next to the onions, just like this. So it's going to be spinach, onion, spinach, onion. Now we just have another basil. And then we have radish. Let's see, where are we putting the radish? Oh, okay, never mind. Radish does not go in here. Okay, so the radish was put in here by accident. So radish is not going in this bed. It's actually going in the other bed. I wanted to quickly mention that the basil, this does not get planted until March, but I planted basil last March and it burnt. It didn't, I don't know if it's just that I planted it too late in March, but it didn't come out. So I want to attempt to do it a little bit earlier and see how it goes. And I have a lot of basil seeds, so we're just going to experiment. It's still pretty warm outside. I mean, we're looking at 70 degrees weather here. So I'm going to put this in and cover it to keep it warm and just kind of see if it'll grow. So we're going to experiment here. I'm just going to make some lines here to put in my seeds. I really enjoyed the process of putting in the seeds, but something I noticed that I would like to do differently next time is being able to be more organized with how I put down my seeds. Some of these seeds were very small and very hard to put in a straight line. So I'll show you guys an update in another video. You guys will see how some of the vegetables are growing. But I wanted them to look a little bit more straighter, but they were kind of just all over the place. So it was just a little tricky to get them aligned. So that's something I'm going to work on next time, is having a better technique on how to put the seeds down in a more organized way so that they can grow like in a straight line than like all over the place. So I'll show you guys in another upload how that looks like. But it's growing. At least it's growing. I mean, that's good news. The first bed is done. I am going to quickly take a picture so that I don't forget what seeds I put on the first bed. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. So now we are on our second bed. This is the topsoil bed with the heavy soil. So apparently carrots like to have soil like this. So that's why I chose to put the carrots here. So basically how this bed is going to look, we're going to have carrots, onions, carrots, onions. And then for the flower bed, we're going to use the poppy red corn flowers and the aster flowers. And that will also help to protect the veggie patch. So I'm going to go ahead, put a first row of carrots, onions, carrots, onions. And that's basically how I'm going to do it. I am very excited that I am growing some carrots. I have read many articles of it being a very tricky vegetable to grow. So I decided to do a bit of an experiment. I am going to be using two different soils. So you guys know that in one bed, I am using the topsoil. And then on the other beds, I am using just a normal organic soil. And so I am going to see what grows where the best. And I'm going to use all the tricks that everybody else has used for growing good carrots, and hopefully that will work. And I'm also excited for the beets. I hope that the beets have enough space to grow. I'm not too sure. I'm a little worried that maybe the soil was not deep enough, although I checked it several times. But I just really hope that it has enough space to grow. Because I really love beets, and I also like to eat the leaves of the beets. They're so good. Okay, so this is the last bed. This bed is going to have radish, and it's going to have snap peas and this variety of peas. This is Little Marvel. So let's put these in now. Here's our peas. Look at that. Looks like a peas. So we're going to put the peas on the back. That way I can add a trellis back there and it'll have space to grow. I heard very good reviews on peas. They are supposed to be very easy to grow here in Las Vegas, or if you are in zone 9B, it's supposed to be very easy to grow. So that's why I dedicated a nice garden bed dedicated to two different varieties of peas. And I can only hope that it's actually going to grow and that it can produce food for us, for me and my family. I really enjoy having peas with rice or in a very nice tomato gravy. It's so good. But that is one thing that I'm very excited about. Well, I'm excited about all of my food growing, obviously, but I'm very curious if it's true that peas are easy to grow. So we will test the theory. And that little packet that you guys saw there, that's just more carrots. And that is me trying to test the carrots in the other soil and hoping that it works out. I am done planting in all my seeds. All I'm going to do now is add some cardboard box. I feel like the best thing I can do right now is to add a little bit of a greenhouse. I think we're going to have some cold fronts coming in February, so I just want to make sure that the seeds can survive any cold fronts. But right now it is warm outside. I'm just going to lightly water the top and I'm going to cover it with some cardboard box and hope that that will keep the seeds safe from any frostbite. And also, just to update you guys on these two pallets, what I decided to do, because I am not done planting, I'm going to use this box to plant the celery, and I'm going to use these other ones to plant um, cucumbers and bell peppers, and I believe also cabbage. I'm still deciding on that. And also, I want to attempt to do watermelon again. I did it last spring and it failed. And I believe that I just didn't correctly use the soil or prep the soil nicely. So I'm going to attempt again and do the watermelon. And I'm going to also use a box for the watermelon. And I'm going to probably have the watermelon go here. And then I'm going to probably maybe do cantaloupe. A friend of mine told me that cantaloupe grows so nicely here in Vegas. So we're also going to see how that works. But yeah, at least the beds are done. And now I just need to do these little things, which will be pretty fast. I'm really glad that I ended up covering the beds because we ended up getting a lot of days where it was very, very cold at night, and that would have disrupted some of these seeds from growing. Although some of them do like the cold, there were some that I put in these beds that did not like the cold. So I'm very glad that I took some precaution and did my best to cover some of these beds to keep them a bit warm and keep the temperature not so cold. So I'm glad I made that decision. Okay, so I am done with this project. I went ahead and covered all the beds. I was going to let the sun kind of do its thing, but then there were some birds that were coming around and some bees coming around because some of the seeds are kind of out in the open. So I understand, but I'm going to keep them covered and then I'll probably open it up tomorrow morning to get some sun. But for now, I'm going to keep them covered, keep the water in there. And also, this will help so that the carrots can also grow so that the carrots can grow. And yeah, I was just thinking maybe I can create like a little bit of a greenhouse in there because we still have February to go through, and that's usually our coldest month of the year. And we do actually get cold days. So I just want to make sure that we are okay. Tomorrow is our move in day. So that's why I was rushing to get some of these projects done. And thankfully, they are done. So now all I have to do is make sure that I'm watering everything and making sure that the stems are growing. And also, the last thing I have to do here before I go is just to plant my celery, and then the cucumbers and all the other things that will probably be in March or February, end of February, most likely. But we'll see how it goes. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being my guest, and I will see you next time.